Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. It's our noon bulletin. Now we begin with reports that the presidency has condemned reports that President Muhammadu Buhari is under pressure from some foreign governments to drop his second-term bid. According to a statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, the claims, including a report in a national daily, are false. Contrary to the claims, Mr. Adesina said the European Union, United States of America, United Kingdom and Saudi Arabia think highly of the president. In any case, he believes the countries mentioned do not interfere in the democratic affair of the country. He said, quote, "If there are quarters in which President Buhari is held in very high esteem and the work he is doing for Nigeria highly lauded, it is in the countries mentioned." End of quote. Ahead of the 2019 general elections, the All Progressives Congress APC is set to choose its presidential candidate during its presidential primary scheduled to hold on October 6, 2018. The party, in its statement yesterday, announced that primary elections for the party's ticket for State House of Assembly will hold on September 15, while that of House of Representatives will hold on September 19. The statement further said the primary election for the Senate would hold on September 23, while governorship primaries would hold on September 28. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is the front-runner for the party's presidential ticket and is currently contending with at least 4 party members who have indicated intentions to run for presidency. South leader Senator Edwin Clark has indicated his support for Senate President Bukola Saraki, who he says is going through political prosecution. Chief Clark, while reacting to a twisted version of a personal letter he wrote Senator Saraki in 2013 in the social media, described the Senate President as a son in whom he is well pleased and defended during travails. He said Saraki's political ordeal is aimed at destroying his illustrious political career and the rich legacy of his biological father. The Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC held a stakeholders meeting at the party secretariat on Akme Road, Ogba, where the APC national leader Asiwaju Bola Tinubu said it was gratifying to report that the party had resolved to register additional members, adding that membership register would be open to facilitate the process, which eventually will be used for direct primaries.
Everything that we stand for is progress of this country. How to build a better nation through a better party. We embrace democracy. That's why we are here to consult our members. And they are saying we are committed to APC. We appeal to all our members to update the membership registration and embrace the direct primary that has just been introduced and adopted by our party. We are committed to our party. We are committed to the value. We see direct primary as Buhari's anti-corruption internal democracy revolution. We are going to embrace that. You win. The party is gone back to the owners of the party. That is you, the people. It's not we, the few. It's we, the people.
We are giving power to the people, and it's starting from APC. So we want to collectively say a big thank you to Asiwaju for championing this silent revolution. And it's very simple. What we are saying, if we know that Lagos State is truly controlled by APC, we will champion a revolution that has never been witnessed before in this country. That means each member of our great party will now determine who becomes the president of this country, and by so doing, we create the championship that Lagos State has the votes and Lagos State has the numbers to make things happen in this country. Like what Ashaju has said, the foundation has been laid concretely. It's left for others to build on that foundation to allow Nigeria to arrive at its predestined destination.
That was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Governor of Lagos State at a stakeholders conference. Moving on, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP has sued the Director General, National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Sule Kazaure and the NYSC over failure to publish specific documents and information on Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun's application for NYSC exemption, and also seeking to compel them to explain if Mrs. Adeosun obtained any exemption certificate from the NYSC. The suit followed SERAP's Freedom of Information request dated August 2, 2018 to General Kazaure, giving him 7 days to provide information on specific details and documents on the exemption certificate applied for and obtained by Mrs. Adeosun, clarify whether the NYSC actually granted her the exemption certificate, and if did, the circumstances and provisions of the NYSC Act under which the exemption certificate was granted. No date has been fixed for hearing. Fresh controversies over the non-reinstatement of Nigeria's former chairman of the Pension Reform Task Force back into the Federal Civil Service, Abdulrasheed Maina, has not been seen in public view since his disappearance in early 2017 after attempts were made on his life. This was after he was dismissed from the Federal Civil Service by Nigeria's federal government, following public outcry over wide-scale fraud allegations, which he denies up to date. Our correspondent, Amadinui, reports.
Wanted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the former chairman of the Presidential Pension Reform Task Force, Abdulrasheed Maina, continues to be a fugitive from the nation's anti-graft agency. His reinstatement into the Federal Civil Service evoked reactions from across the country and was the subject of a public hearing by federal lawmakers. Mr. Maina was posted to the Interior Ministry, a decision the federal government revoked, though verbally. This some groups are calling an act of injustice.
If Mr. President is actually fighting corruption, should he disengage a civil servant who has volunteered useful information that has led to recovery of over 1.3 trillion? We strongly believe that some vested interests bent on sabotaging this fight against corruption are behind Maina's travels.
If you are aware, the other time when we were in the National Assembly, the CG Immigration was there to make testimonies that Maina had never been in their blacklist. The representative of the IG also came and said Maina is at no time been on wanted list. The DSS also came. In fact, the ICPC acting chairman then came and said nothing of such. So for anybody to tell you that Maina had been confiscated or been on the wanted list is a fallacy.
They say Mr. Maina is the victim of a witch hunt and deserves fair hearing.
Why would Mr. President, in October 2017, verbally order his disengagement from service after succumbing to political pressure from the same thieves that Maina caused their arrest without following due process?
However, there are some who think otherwise.
It depends on which of the categories you belong to. For those who have their funds and who felt that as chairman of the pension task force, he stole their money, for those persons, they will not believe he is being treated unfairly.
One legal practitioner thinks in the midst of accusations and counter-accusations, judgments of the court should take precedence.
Yes, people believe he has stolen public funds, but even though I do not hold brief for Mr. Maina, the court order must be obeyed until such a time when a court of competent jurisdiction declares him guilty and sentences him accordingly.
While Abdulrasheed Maina continues to be on the run, many Nigerians, especially pensioners, will be hoping allegations of fraud by Maina, popularly called Maina Gates, is resolved quickly in the interest of justice. Amadin Uyi, Plus TV Africa.
The United States Embassy has suspended consular services and appointments in Abuja till further notice. It explained that appointments for visa and for American citizen services have also been put on hold temporarily. Consular operations in Lagos were, however, not affected, the nation said in a statement on Tuesday. On its website, no reason was given for the decision. The message read, "Until further notice, all consular appointments at the U.S. Embassy in Abuja have temporarily ceased for both visa and for American citizen services. Consular functions in U.S. Consulate Lagos are not affected and will continue. Scheduled visas and AC's applications for Abuja will be contacted for rescheduling." To some sad development now, one person has been confirmed dead, while 3 others were injured after a suspected militant attacked a passenger bus at Etim Ekpo local government area of Akwa Ibom State. The public relations officer in the state said on Tuesday that hoodlums shot at the bus when the driver refused to stop after they had flagged down the vehicle. He added that when the driver eventually stopped, one of the passengers had died. Meanwhile, the police public relations officer said the driver of another bus, which appeared at the scene, veered off the road in panic and crashed into a building before the bus caught fire. It's now time to take a quick break. When we return, the rest of news continues. Don't go anywhere. Glad to have you back. It's now time to bring you news from the rest of Africa. ZANU-PF legal team advocate Louis Uriri and Paul Mnangagwa chat after filing their papers in Harare today. President Mnangagwa has filed his opposing papers to the MDC Alliance losing candidate Nelson Chamisi's election petition, challenging the former's victory in the July 30 harmonized elections. Lead Defense Counsel advocate Louis Uriri confirmed that the opposing papers have been filed at the Constitutional Court, indicating that they were ready to argue the matter. Quote, "We have filed our opposing papers," said advocate Uriri, adding, "We will show the court that Chamisi's lawyers had until Friday 10 a.m. to file and serve their papers."
Successfully filed our opposition papers to this application, which we think is just a waste of time, but that's for the court to decide. The next step will be for the MDC Alliance to file an answering affidavit to our papers, and then from there, the court will set down the matter for hearing. Our team of legal practitioners is ready to meet the MDC Alliance in court.
And in Mali, President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta has won a second-round election runoff comfortably, according to a provisional vote count by his own camp, his spokesman Boukari Traoré told reporters on Tuesday. The ballot pitted Keïta against opposition leader Soumaïla Cisse after an inconclusive first round last month, when Mr. Keïta won about 41%. The UN Refugee Agency has expressed its concern about the forced eviction by militia of 1,900 internally displaced persons from Trik al-Mata settlement in Tripoli, Libya. Trik al-Mata was the largest IDP settlement in Tripoli, which hosted about 370 families originally from the city of Tawega living in the settlement since it was established in the year 2011. According to residents, a local militia forced the entire population of Trik al-Mata to flee their homes last week after 3 nights of indiscriminate raiding and the unlawful arrest of 94 residents, 12 of whom are still detained by the militia in dismal conditions. When we return, we'll bring you news from the foreign scene. Don't go anywhere. And on the foreign scene, President Ram Nath Kovind has praised its country on the occasion of its 72nd Independence Day on Wednesday. In his words, it says, "India is a vibrant democracy. The strength of our democracy lies in the faith reposed by our people, in the resilience and independence of our institutions, and pluralism emerging from the extraordinary diversity of languages, ethnicities, and religions." End of quote. It stressed that the importance of the expansion and diversification of bilateral economic engagement, while noting that India needs the world and the world needs India. The man being held on suspicion of terrorism after the Westminster car crash has been named as Salih Keita by government sources. The 29-year-old British citizen, originally from Sudan, is being questioned in South London. Police have been searching 3 addresses in Birmingham and Nottingham as part of their investigations.
Well, this individual is in his late 20s. He's a British citizen. He came from another country originally, but at the moment that's all. He is obviously helping police, hopefully, with an investigation. And I think what you'll see is, I have to be careful not to impinge on that investigation. We have to give the police space to follow it up and identify what they need to do to make sure that hopefully we can be as sure as possible this is a one-off individual and not part of a broader attack. There is no indication to say there is, and in fact at the moment it's only being treated at the moment as a terrorist incident, and we haven't yet fully confirmed that either.
And rescuers in the northwestern Italian city of Genoa continue to search for possible survivors after the dramatic collapse of a motorway bridge. The Interior Minister said at least 35 people were killed when dozens of vehicles fell 45 meters. About 16 people were injured in the collapse, and the number missing ranges from 4 to 12. About 250 firefighters from across Italy are taking part in the search using sniffer dogs and climbing gear. More than 400 people have been evacuated amidst fear that other parts of the bridge might still fall. We now take a flip to the business side of life with Edith Young. Stay tuned.
This is Business News, and I'm Edidiong Iwang. Well, according to reports released by the National Bureau of Statistics today, Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, increased by 11.14% year-on-year in July 2018. Now, this is a 0.09% point drop in the rates recorded in June 2018, which stood at 11.23%. This represents an 18th consecutive disinflation in headline inflation year-on-year. Increases were recorded in all divisions that yielded the headline index, but on a month-on-month basis, the headline index increased by 1.13% in July 2018, down by 0.11 percentage points from the rate recorded in June at 1.24%. The percentage change in the average composite CPI for the 12-month period ending July 2018. Over the average, the CPI for the previous 12 months period was 13.95%, showing a 0.42% from 4.37% recorded in June 2018. The federal government says it has a target of generating $88 billion and creating 3 million jobs through the nation's digital economy within a period of 10 years. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Adejoke Orelope, says the federal government has embarked on activities to effectively grow the digital space in order to actualize the target, as it officially inaugurated the nation's first digital classroom in Abuja. She says Google, like other IT companies, is establishing a strong presence in Nigeria, not out of altruism, but based on hard and rational logic of profit to be made and potential to impact a large youthful market of 200 million population. The Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $210 million into the interbank foreign exchange market to extend efforts to boost liquidity and alleviate dollar shortages. According to a statement from released, amounts According to a statement released, $100 million was earmarked for the wholesale market, while $55 million was for small and medium enterprises, and $55 for customers requiring Forex for business, personal travel allowances, tuition, and medical fees, among others. The Acting Director of Corporate Communications of the CBN, Mr. Isaac Okorafor, added that the Apex Bank will sensitize stakeholders in Abuja today on the bilateral currency swap agreement between the CBN and the People's Bank of China, which was signed on April 2017, 2018. As of Tuesday, August 14, the Naira exchanged for 360 Naira to a dollar in the Bureau de Change segment of the market, but it depreciated to 306 Naira and 5 kobo to the dollar at the official rate of 306 Naira to the dollar. Well, that's it on business news. What's still to come is our roundup on entertainment and sports. We'll be back in a moment.
And in entertainment in South Africa, and with the new Ellen Parker's movie to be released soon in Cape Town, the actress Jill Levenberg spoke out about the plight so many women on the Cape Flats have to endure on a daily basis. Levenberg said the film made her realize that there are so many more women like Ellen who experience abuse and violence by their own children. The film is about a family destroyed by drugs in Lavender Hill. Levenberg said the film made Pakis emotional, but she hopes that it will make a difference in communities which are plagued by substance abuse and crime. The movie is called The Ellen Pakis Story. A stream of celebrities have been sending their well wishes to the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, after reports emerged claiming she's fighting for her life at the end stages of cancer. At the Ford Field Stadium in downtown Detroit, music power couple Beyoncé and Jay-Z joined in the tributes by opening their On the Run to Tour performance with a salute to the star. This show is dedicated to Aretha Franklin, Beyoncé exclaimed to the 44,000 strong crowd, saying, "We love you and thank you for all of the beautiful music." Rapper Missy Elliott also reminded her followers of a tweet she sent out earlier this year, adding, "We must celebrate the living legends while they are here to see it." Aretha is believed to be surrounded by family and close friends who rushed to be by her side on Monday. And that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports right after this.
Hello and welcome to Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Former Arsenal and Barcelona midfielder Alexander Song has signed for Swiss Super League side Sion on a free transfer. And Song joins the club after putting pen to paper on a 2-year deal. His transfer was confirmed by the club on Tuesday evening via the social media handle. And Sion are currently 5th on the league table after 4 top-flight games in Switzerland. And the 49-cap Cameroon international star has been a free agent since he left Russian Premier League outfit Rubin Kazan in January. He has been training with Sion for several weeks before his deal was confirmed by the club on Tuesday evening. Still on football, Wilfred Zaha has put pen to paper on a bumper new 5-year contract at Crystal Palace worth £130,000 per week, making him the highest paid player at the club. And this comes after Palace kept strong clubs like Tottenham and Chelsea away from signing Zaha, as the clubs could not meet the £70 million bargain it would have taken to prize him away from Selhurst Park. And Zaha commits to the Eagles until the end of 2022-2023 season, and his weekly wage rises and makes him the highest paid player outrightly. And Zaha's heroics last season, to all intents and purposes, kept Palace afloat in the Premier League. He scored 9 and assisted a further 5 goals, which went a long way to securing top-flight status once again for the Eagles. And Spanish 2-time world champion Fernando Alonso has announced he is to retire from Formula One at the end of the season. And the McLaren driver made his debut for Minardi at the Australian Grand Prix in 2001. He is competing in his 17th Formula One season. And the 37-year-old has won the 2005 and 2006 championships when racing for Renault. Alonso ended Michael Schumacher's 5-year dominance of the Drivers' Championship when he won the first of his titles in 2005, and at that time he became the youngest ever driver to win the title. He has also finished championship runner-up 3 times, and to date has achieved 32 wins, 22 pole positions, and 97 podium finishes. And Carlos Sainz is set to be announced as Fernando Alonso's replacement at McLaren. And that's what much you can take on Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
There you have it, and that's our news roundup of events at this hour. Many thanks for watching. But please do remember, for more news updates and broadcasts, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do remember to subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later by 3 o'clock with stories making the headlines across Nigeria, Africa, and the rest of the world. I'm David Alabi. Good afternoon.